What's up, world? Let me tell you about this beard growth oil I got from 12 tribes on Earth. 8 ounces of oily goodness with a nozzle that prevents sprays and spills, and soft ingredients that make it perfect addition to anyone's morning routine. From coconut to castor, all these oils are hand chosen. After using this herbal blend, the biggest thing I noticed is how soft, how strong my hair was, and how good I feel. Pick up your bottle today and make your beard the star of the show.
Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. Well, we're going to talk about the data center and how they are cropping up all over the country and causing a lot of problems, y'all. It is an environmental nightmare. I was even listening to one scientist, and he said he was waiting for the whole country to become Cancer Alley. And when you see what I'm about to show you, you're going to understand why I am saying it. Now, the data centers have been cropping up rapidly, especially over this past year. In my state alone, there are 70 data centers. Now, there are none in the surrounding towns, but there was a town not far away from where I am. I would say like a 25-minute drive. They were trying to put one there. That would have been the closest one to me if they would have succeeded. The people in the town came out big and opposed it, so they backed off. So there will be no data center there. But it doesn't mean they won't go to a neighboring town to try to do it. That's usually what they do. These data centers are a nightmare because they emit so much pollution in the air. They also emit light pollution to the point where you no longer see the night sky. So by day, you're seeing the natural light that we see from the sun, and even cloudy days, you get the natural light during the day. At night, you get an artificial light, so you never really truly see darkness once the data center comes about. It is being reported that it is throwing off the animals, because we have a lot of nocturnal animals around us that do their hunting at night, or they're very active at night, like your owls, and your deers are very active at night, and other animals. And they said even the birds are acting differently once these data centers come up. It really confuses the animal because they know, day and night look similar, so they get completely confused. The noise, it emits a continuous noise that never stops, y'all. And some people that live near these data centers have literally snapped from hearing this continuous sound 24/7. It has taken toll on some people's psyche. And, I was reading articles on how some people literally start having breakdowns because of this non-stop sound that comes from the data center. And the water is getting badly polluted. And you're going to see in one of the videos, this woman turns her faucet on and it's just a drip because the data center is usurping all of the water, all of the power. I mean, this thing is just absolutely ridiculous. And these data centers, when I say they are huge, y'all, they are ginormous. And yes, people's they notice their energy bills are going up. The water is no longer clean. The drinking water is no longer clean because of what they're doing to the water. So you're going to see everything, y'all, and fully understand what we're dealing with. And the sad part is they're literally going to be nationwide, and it gets even worse. Elon Musk want to put data centers up in the air. He wants them to be up in the sky. So in other words, we'll see them hovering in the sky, not only on land, but hovering up in the sky as well. That's what he wants to do. And more than likely, he probably will do it. So you'll be driving along in your car and you'll see some object hovering in the air, and that's a data center. So trust me, if they're talking about it, they're already working on doing this. And I can't even imagine what kind of sounds are going to be emitted from the air. Is bad enough listening to these things on the ground. And yeah, so it is bad. And there are a couple of scenes in here from Michigan and New Jersey, I believe Ohio, Texas. So they're literally everywhere. So you may be escaping it for now, but not for long, unfortunately. Now, one thing I do want to put out here, the news have been really pushing hard this, oh, the black community, they're cropping up in black communities. No, they are cropping up in black communities. That part is true. But most of the people impacted by these data centers are white, and don't let them tell you otherwise. The biggest people impacted by these data centers are white, but the media in this country wants you to believe the biggest people impacted are black. That's not true. It's really not that many black communities across the country for it to be just us and no one else. They want to put these data centers everywhere. That being said, of course, it's going to be in the white neighborhood too, and it is. So don't let them try to con you into thinking it's us and no one else. No, white people are overwhelmingly getting hit with these data centers, and they're complaining about their bills, complaining about the barely water dripping from their faucets. No, you'll see that when you watch the video. So let's get to it, ladies and gentlemen. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Yeah, it looked like the first one is from out of Pennsylvania. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody.
It's March 15th, 6:05 p.m. The noise is the XAI power plant in South Haven, Mississippi. It's about a half mile from my house. Getting some wind right now, too.
Hey, America. So today I delivered a load to a data center in South Carolina. And I'm going to tell you something about that data center that I seen. It looks like a prison. All right. Listen to me. There's nothing but solid concrete walls and ventilation. I don't know why they would need something built like this for a data center, but I'm telling you now that these data centers have their own electric substations. I'm talking about with power cords, hey, to keep some stuff running. All right. But in all actuality, I'm telling you, these data centers look like encampments, concrete prisons. Now, I might be wrong. I might be wrong. Maybe they're not. Maybe they really are data centers. But I'm looking at data centers that they're going to have computers that hold data. And these places are the size of 10 Walmarts. All right? Like, how many servers must you have to where these are coming up all around the country? One of these data centers look like it should be able to hold the information of everyone in this country 100 times over. But they're popping up everywhere. Everywhere. Okay? And I'm telling y'all, I've seen some jails, I've seen some prisons. Listen to me. I don't think these no data centers. I'm honestly feeling like there's going to come a time where some of us have to put up, shut up, or be locked up. So America and Americans, y'all better stay frosty and keep your eyes open. We know the vast majority of you are going to fall in place. But some of us really enjoy our freedom.
This is the Twitter data center that's located in Memphis, Tennessee, that's causing all the pollution, the high ass power bills, the drain on the water, etc. And last week we saw a bunch of Utah residents protesting a new data center being built in their community. And unfortunately, the board decided against them. Today, as I was scrolling through the news, I saw that 50,000 residents were going to be without power next year because the power company is going to be giving that energy to the data center.
Okay, now what she's saying is true. Now, I have been looking at reports where once the data center went up, people have been reporting several power outages per week in their community when they hardly had that many. But now that the data center is up, they have to go sometimes several hours with no power in their homes. And other people, and virtually everybody that's around these data centers, are talking about how their power bills, their energy bills have tripled, you know? And yes, they do expect you to pay that mess. So yeah, so you may be unfortunate if when they put one around you where you're going to have to go several hours per day without your power because these data centers are usurping all of the energy in the area. So that is happening too. So let's go on.
And I think it's important to keep in mind that that region already hosts data centers from Google, Apple, and Microsoft. In addition to that, those data centers are going to be increasing the amount of energy that is going to be needed for about the next 10 years. And I think we should all be suspicious and wary of a utility company who can decide that they're going to stop providing power to humans so that they can provide power to machines, especially when these machines are a result of so many people losing their jobs. And these people are losing their jobs because these tech companies are choosing to invest in AI. In 2026 alone, there's already been 128,000 layoffs, and there's more to come.
They build it next to a neighborhood, put all these diesel generators. These are not your normal diesel generators. Maybe half of this room is one generator. They're releasing all this pollution, this air pollution, but also the noise pollution with all of this. You know, I read a report where the noise pollution travels for 5 miles and it causes heart murmurs in kids. We're seeing heart attacks in adults. We're seeing early onset dementia in people. We are seeing reports that chickens lay 50% less eggs. We're seeing cases where horses no longer reproduce. We're seeing cases where cows, goats, and sheep lose 30% of their body weight.
When a new sound started invading their homes.
That's just a high-pitched drone sound.
I can hear it inside my house, and that's what concerns me.
This is where, as far as our ears can tell, the sound is coming from. Microsoft's project website says that these data centers here behind me on the southern part of the campus will be operational later this year. Briggs says
County is known as the data center capital of the world, but residents who live next door to some of them say they're producing noise that's not only annoying, but debilitating. Imagine hearing loud hums or white noise like this right here. Yeah, that hum, that noise, no matter what time of day since last year. This is the reality, according to some of our neighbors in Sterling. And that's where we find our Matthew Torres this afternoon, who spoke to residents and county leaders.
Now, you heard the way that sound, right? That is 24/7. 24/7. You have to listen to, let me go back and put it on.
Yeah, that hum, that noise.
part of the campus will be operational later.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's what it sounds like 24/7. 24/7. They said the sound is so loud, it goes out as far as 3 miles. So if you live 3 miles away from the data center, you would be hearing that sound. That's how far out it goes. So yeah, that's noise pollution. So I can't, they said literally everything is impacted. People, like I said, there's some people that they said have mentally snapped because they got to hear that sound around the clock, and it's impacting everything, including if you got dogs and cats, your dogs and cats are even reacting to the sound. It's impacting literally everybody and every living creature that's around in the area. And I was listening to one man last night. He said he don't even hear the birds anymore. He think because of the data centers being put in his area, the birds have already migrated and left out of there. He said he don't even hear the sound of birds anymore. I mean, this is crazy what they are doing. This is crazy. But y'all, this is going to become more common than uncommon around this country. And this is nothing but, this is nothing more than mere greed. These wealthy people, these rich people are the ones financing and putting up these data centers. And this is all pure greed. That's all it is.
County is known as the data center capital of the world, but residents who live next door to some of them say they're producing noise that's not only annoying, but debilitating. Imagine hearing loud hums or white noise like this right here. Yeah, that hum, that noise, no matter what time of day since last year. This is the reality, according to some of our neighbors in Sterling. And that's where we find our Matthew Torres this afternoon, who spoke to residents and county leaders about the growing concern.
Don't be fooled by the tranquil sounds of nature. I'm hearing this is actually the quietest.
This is the quietest it's been, yes.
Lindsay Shaw says today is one of the lucky days the ringing sound she hears around a clock isn't so loud.
It's a northern wind, so all the sound's going to carry that way. If you walk around that side of the data center, you will hear how loud we hear it all the time.
It's hard to avoid it when you're on the other side. The whining noises from this Vantage data center on Glen Drive in Sterling could be heard from inside people's homes nearby.
Do you hear that ringing?
It is not only annoying, but it's like that high-pitched sound that just won't go away. Almost like you have a headache all the time. We put a new deck on our house, and we don't like sitting outside anymore. We don't like being outside.
This data center complex is the first in the county to generate its own power using 8 natural gas turbines 24/7 instead of connecting to the grid.
It's a disaster to have these power plants anywhere near residential areas.
Loudoun County officials are well aware of the number of complaints about data center noises. They are now holding internal conversations to figure out ways to help mitigate this issue.
We can change the zoning ordinance. We can change the noise ordinance. We are looking at all possible mechanisms to try and change the criteria by which we measure that.
Loudoun County Supervisor Mike Turner says there are discussions to change ordinances that focus specifically on data center noise. Right now, there's a limit of 55 decibels for industrial noise measured at residential property lines. Some neighbors here claim the levels surpass that.
I'd like to see the threshold lower. Noise can be mitigated.
As Loudoun County maintains its title data center capital of the world, Shaw says quality of life needs to be considered even more.
Would you like to move here and listen to that all the time? Because it's really not fair to all of us.
Look at this. I live in a suburb of Columbus in Ohio. For reference, it's 11 p.m. The sun went down 5 hours ago. It looks fully bright out. And like, I get that there's streetlights, but that is all from the data centers. That's light pollution from the data centers. Like, this is me on my way home from work at 11 p.m. It looks like the sun is up. This is awful.
Now, can you imagine? I want y'all just to picture in your head hearing that noise all night long, and now you no longer see the night sky. It doesn't get dark at night no more. So you have, like I said, you got natural light during the day, artificial light at night. Artificial light. You no longer look up and see the dark sky, but you see this artificial light that's illuminating the entire place. So when you are in bed at night, it's going to look like it's daytime hours outside. That's what these people are living through. That's what they're living through with these centers all around. And, you know, and I think a lot of people were naive about these data centers. I think they thought it was just going to be some kind of complex with buildings, but that was it. They didn't know all of the negative side of what they were going to have in these areas that they live in. But yeah, I mean, when I started seeing, they were like, we haven't seen a night in X amount of months. That is crazy. So you now live in a place that got a permanent daylight that you never had before. Okay, where's my sound?
change ordinances that focus specifically on data center noise. Right now, there's a limit of 55 decibels for industrial noise measured at residential property lines. Some neighbors here claim the levels surpass that.
I'd like to see the threshold lower. Noise can be mitigated.
As Loudoun County maintains its title of data center capital of the world, Shaw says quality of life needs to be considered even more.
Would you like to move here and listen to that all the time? Because it's really not fair to all of us.
Look at this. I live in a suburb of Columbus in Ohio. For reference, it's 11 p.m. The sun went down 5 hours ago. It looks fully bright out. And like, I get that there's streetlights, but that is all from the data centers. That's light pollution from the data centers. Like, this is me on my way home from work at 11 p.m. It looks like the sun is up. This is awful.
Okay, y'all, what they're doing is showing you what the data center looks like with an infrared light. That's what they're doing. All right, y'all. I don't know why this don't have sound. It should have sound. Hold on. I'm going to see if I can get another video of this. Hold on. I don't know what happened to the sound, but I'm going to move forward and see if there is sound.
The development agreement that you signed allows CRG to drill its own wells if the city's water supply cannot keep up with your facility's demands. One of the big case studies here in Oregon shows that a data center's water supply took in elevated nitrite levels and it pumped it out 8 times higher than the state safety levels would allow. The aquifer under Festus doesn't stop at the property line of one of these people that lives on that subdivision there. So I wonder what happens to the neighbors' wells if yours runs dry or runs dirty.
Well, that is a question I cannot answer. That is an engineering question, but I will get you an answer.
On the water, I wonder how you persuade the skeptics or people who are just concerned about pollution of the water itself. The Trump administration has relaxed or delayed some of the PFA reporting requirements for several years. And the reporting that would be coming on in 2031 or later is self-reporting. So you'd be conducting your own tests. You'd be submitting your own. I wonder if that's going to be.
Clayco is holding ourselves to the previous standards in every single environmental regulation. We're not taking advantage of any of the new Trump administration regulations. We're holding ourselves to the same standards before.
But holding yourselves, to whom are you accountable in that regard? How do you persuade or how do you show people that the water is safe?
To my children.
You know, once again, we're seeing the same people destroying the earth. They have been destroying the earth since they have stepped foot on it. And we are seeing the same people that are willing to sacrifice everybody's health, everybody's well-being, everybody's livelihood, just so they can make a buck. You know, like I said, I was listening to several videos last night, and one was a scientist, and he said he's waiting for, because of these data centers, he's waiting for the entire nation to turn into Cancer Alley. That's what he's saying. And just looking at all that's happening to these communities after these data centers come, I absolutely believe it. So here we go again, y'all. And we always know it's always the same culprit doing this stuff. It's never anybody different. But it amazes me how these people always got some shit to say about us. But what they do always supersede anything we've done. But it's amazing how they get away with trying to call us out on stuff, and they do stuff far worse. So here we go again, willing to destroy the world just so they can make a buck. Unbelievable.
What does that mean?
It means that we're going to hold ourselves to the higher standard, plain and simple. I don't know what you mean. You think we're just going to pollute the water and infest us?
People have that concern.
Well, we've committed that we're not going to. It's an engineering question, and we're going to answer the question. I just answered it. We're not going to put anything back in the wastewater that's worse than the water we bring in. The city and the counties and every place we're working in the United States, you know, have methodologies for testing the water, the wastewater.
There's the classic example of drinking the glass of water yourself to prove. Could you see a demonstration like that happening?
It's possible.
Play this, go forward.
So this is comparable
Okay, I like this because I hear her
data
sound.
center that is going to be built over in the Bertram chain of lakes. The guy from Skinnell Properties told me to come and check out this data center.
Wow, that's bad.
Oh, I'm hoping that my phone is capturing that noise.
It is.
Oh my! Yeah, it is actually significantly
That's what the sound
loud.
that happens in my ears when I sleep. Bro, imagine working inside. Like, imagine in there.
Okay, it didn't get any better. Yeah, let's find out which data center that's from. Go ahead, Rob. Sounds like a plane taking off.
The C5.
Yeah. Is that really what it sounds like?
It's outside.
Play this, Rob?
That's loud, Michelle.
That is loud. But again, nowadays, I mean, you have to.
We begin tonight with a look at the madness surrounding the rise of these AI data centers.
All right, y'all. Now, you may not have one around you, but just be observant when you're on the highway. You may actually see them when you're traveling down a highway, you know, and not realizing, especially if it's something that's been newly built recently, that may actually be a data center, you know. Yeah, it is awful. It is. And these rich people, see Elon Musk, He just got government contracts to put these up. That's why he's putting them up all over the place now. And you'll hear his name a lot coming up when, when the talk of data centers is spoken. But these are just your usual rich people, the same ones. Y'all, these aren't different people. These are the same ones that own the prison industrial complex. They own many of these big corporations or big investors in some of the biggest corporations in America. It's these same damn people. It's the same people. It's nobody different. So really listen to this upcoming report. This one is very, very detailed.
That are now popping up all across the country. These are massive industrial complexes that are being built across the U.S. And like locusts or some kind of old world plague, they are devouring up everything in their path. And while big tech calls it the future, it may be a dystopian future. So many Americans already experience it as a nightmare. I'm talking about much higher electric bills, water shortages, and even land grabs. And the craziest part here, you're paying for every bit of it. Take a look at this map. The United States already has thousands of data centers operating right now. And according to new research, another 3,000 to 3,500 are planned or already under construction globally. They require a staggering 190 gigawatts of power. To put that in perspective, that's more electricity than some entire countries use. And these facilities aren't just eating up electricity, they are devouring water. The US data center industry is already using 449 million gallons of water every single day. Now, here's where the story gets really dark, because while big tech executives promise innovation, ordinary people are being crushed. Let's take a look at Georgia.
It's a sunny afternoon in Atlanta, Georgia. But inside Carolyn Kane's 3,000 square foot home, it's cold.
I'm walking around in a ski suit, trying to stay warm in the winter. My fur jackets.
It's just one of the ways Kane has tried to beat her skyrocketing electric bills.
Carolyn's story is not unique. So this is the data center, and I'd like you to...
Patty Duran founded nonprofit advocacy group Georgians for Affordable Energy. She's been tracking the cost of electricity in the state for over a decade.
The average bill for an average customer used to be about $150 a month. The average bill now is $225.
You heard it there. According to reports by CBS, some residents living near new AI data centers have seen their power bills skyrocket by as much as 267%. As you heard that woman say, she has to wear a ski suit to bed inside of her own home just to stay warm. In America, in 2026, Americans cannot afford their electric bills because of the electricity they aren't even using. And while the data centers themselves are paying reduced industrial electricity rates. So understand what's happening here. You pay more, so big tech can pay less. That's the deal. These companies are building digital empires, Amazon, Google, Meta, Oracle, and entire communities are being forced to subsidize it. In Georgia, power companies are now moving forward with a massive $17 billion data center project. And to build it, more than 20 homeowners could be forced off their property and off their land through eminent domain. Now think about that. Your home, your property, your family land taken so that AI servers can generate chatbots and surveillance systems and digital advertising. This isn't just happening in Georgia. Look at this monster. It is called the Stratos Hyperscale Data Center, and it's a project that's expected to be around 40,000 acres in Utah. That's 2.5 times the size of Manhattan. It will use more, than double the entire electricity consumption of the entire state of Utah. One facility in Utah will use more than double the electricity of the entire rest of the state. That is staggering. And reports say it was approved through a loophole that avoided full public scrutiny. Of course it did, because if people actually understood what was happening, they would never approve this. The issue has turned so heated that hundreds of protesters turned up at the site demanding a chance to vote on the issue. This happened just last week because it's their right too. Instead, Kevin O'Leary, one of the famous backers of this project in Utah, is calling those people, those citizens, foreign plants. Listen to this.
When we had the announcement, a unanimous vote by the commissioners in Box Elder County on the project there, I think I'm one of the only data center developers that has his own data scientists working for him, because I manage a massive social media platform supporting all my entrepreneurs. We noticed an immediate spike in misinformation on two platforms, Instagram and X, formerly Twitter. I want a forensic audit of who's funding their platforms. Who is it? Are they working with the Party for Socialism and Liberation and the People's Dispatch? Because the content looks almost identical. And so why is this happening across America? Why every time we announce national defense in terms of giving us compute power, do we get pounded by all of these IP addresses? So these are proxies for the Chinese government's my argument. And if they're not, because I want them to be able to defend their name, Taylor, Josh, and Gabby, come out wherever you are. Let's audit your books and let's show the people of Utah you actually care about them.
There's a lot there. Kevin O'Leary, one of the sharks of Shark Tank, says any resistance to data centers in this country is a national security issue.
Yeah, the reason why this is going to continue and get worse, y'all, is because, like that guy said, these politicians are being quiet because they've been paid. They've been paid. Many of them probably got millions and millions of dollars. So they see these data centers going up and they say nothing. And they're not defending the people in their districts. They're not trying to fight. They're not doing nothing. They're just staying silent. And you can best believe before the first data center went up in America, they already paid these politicians off. So they would never have any problems doing this everywhere. And they're not. You don't see any senators or congressmen and women stepping up to the plate to fight this. No, they've been paid off. They got their money. So they're not about to speak out against it. They're just going to let the public suffer through this whole thing. And when you complain, it's going to fall upon deaf ears. Now, you might have a chance if you can fight it before they start building. But once they start building, they're going to put that data center there regardless of what the community says. So let's go on.
Saw the hat he was wearing. It said Utah National Security. Here's the thing. What do these data centers do to protect Americans? If anything, these data centers raising prices, taking over, using all of our water, that's a security issue. What is Kevin O'Leary saying about that? What is the government doing about that? You see, it's not just a national security issue. He's saying it because he wants to sow fear, and then you will be so in fear that you shut up and you don't talk about this anymore. We do that with everything. We do it with war, the war in Iran, the war in Ukraine, coronavirus. Shut your mouth and take your medicine. But the thing is, it's a bigger national security issue that we could soon struggle for basic necessities. And that's happening right now. There are some watchdogs who are sounding the alarm here. The North American Electric Reliability Corporation, the group responsible for monitoring grid stability across the US and Canada, it just issued its highest level warning, a level 3 essential action alert. That is not normal. The report explains that AI data centers create massive power swings that can destabilize entire electrical grids in seconds. And grid operators currently do not have adequate systems to handle it. So while politicians talk about smart cities, the people actually running the grid are warning about blackouts. And then there's the quality of life. Look at this. Videos like you just saw there have been shared online showing residents living near the facilities, and they describe that constant humming all the time. The issue is so bad, they say it disrupts their sleep. Some say it sounds like you're living next to an airport that never turns off. Here's the part that nobody in corporate media wants to talk about. These data centers are not just powering AI chatbots. They are powering the infrastructure of the next digital and surveillance era. Surveillance, facial recognition, predictive policing, digital AI systems, flock cameras, and eventually a central bank digital currency. That's what this is really all about. Control through infrastructure. And now, after years of ignoring this explosion, it seems like the federal government is starting to notice. The Energy Information Administration now says it wants to force data centers to report how much power they're using. Will it do any good? It tells you something very important, though. The government may not even fully understand the scale of what's already being built. At least one hand in the government doesn't know what the other hand is doing. And that should maybe not surprise you, but it should terrify you. We're seeing the impacts of growth without restraint. And now people are starting to realize, folks, this isn't just the future. It's a corporate takeover of your physical space, a corporate takeover of water, of power, of land, of communities. And the costs are being dumped directly onto you, on your electric bill, on your water supply, on your property value, on your quality of life. All so that big tech can build the backbone of the AI economy, the same economy that plans to eliminate most of our jobs and most of our futures.
So I just ran across this tonight. Apparently, there's a data center in Texas that is creating so much light pollution that it is causing permanent daylight in this small town. The lights there are brighter than these normal city lights. It's like, not only can you not see the stars at night, but I mean, can you imagine trying to sleep? I mean, it would completely mess up your internal alarm clock. And I am telling you right now that under no circumstances is it okay for any of y'all to plant bamboo by any of these data centers. Kudzu either. Kudzu is off the table. Leave it alone. Japanese knotweed? Are you? That is highly invasive to infrastructure. No, we are not doing that. And don't you even think about pampas grass.
Y'all, this is nighttime. This is nighttime. You see the sky. Man, I tell you what. Let's go back.
Amazon has agreed to pay almost $21 million to settle allegations that its data centers have contributed to groundwater pollution in Morrow County. Folks out in Eastern Oregon have been dealing for years with nitrate pollution in the groundwater that has polluted wells and drinking water in the area. This doesn't come from the data centers. The pollution doesn't. It's nitrates from fertilizer and other farm activities in the area. The allegation, though, is that Amazon, which uses huge volumes of water to cool its data centers out there, has been contributing to the problem because the data centers use water that has nitrates in it from the area. That water evaporates, most of it, during the cooling process. What's left is allegedly concentrated with nitrates, and it goes back out over the farmland, seeping back into the groundwater. Amazon denies any wrongdoing here. They say that their water runoff has very low levels of nitrates, and overall, they're a fairly low water user in the area relative to some of the other water users in the area. They say they agreed to the settlement in the interest of helping the community with its wastewater problem. The money will be used for public infrastructure and private wells. People in the area will be contacted if they're eligible to collect any of the fund.
This is our cold water pressure in the kitchen. This is where I fill up water for storage.
Do you see that water that came out of her tap? When a data center's in your area, all you get is a drip.
This is our cold water pressure in the kitchen.
That's it. That's it. All the water's going to the data center. That's why hardly nothing's coming out of her faucet. So they use several hundred million of gallons of water in the area, leaving the residents with barely a drip of water coming out of their faucets. Y'all, and they want to turn the whole country into this, y'all. Just remember, they want to turn the whole nation into a bunch of data centers.
This is where I fill up water for storage. Those are the things we have to fill up to flush the toilets.
So you can see the sediment from the data center. Wow, and that's just from the water coming out of your faucet.
Yeah. And this is what's in all the pipes.
Just the well itself is probably 20,000, and that's not counting any of the
All the
faucets.
replacement of the fixtures and
That's
faucets
just
and
the well.
toilets and the lines that come underneath the house. It's overwhelming because you really feel like you are up against this huge wall that you can't penetrate. There's nothing that you can do, and they don't care.
I'm here in Mansfield, Georgia, driving by Meta's new 2 million square foot data center facility. Facilities like this are being used to power things like ChatGPT and other AI tools that are becoming integrated into our daily life.
Data centers going to be a very hot item.
This entire supercomputer is built to power Grok.
We see data centers as the most exciting asset class.
Meta is building a 2 gigawatt plus data center that is so large it would cover a significant part of Manhattan.
But data centers come with big costs, from light and noise pollution to the environmental impacts, to the potential rising costs of energy bills. These facilities put extraordinary demand on the power grid and require entirely new infrastructure.
They should be responsible for that, not us.
Search the internet for profits that Meta has made, Amazon, Microsoft. They can afford to pay for their own generation.
We came to Georgia to ask two questions. What's the true cost of the AI revolution, and who should be paying for it?
Y'all, now do you understand why the Most High must get these Gentiles out of the way and remove them from power? Because if you don't, they will destroy the entire world. If you gave them another 100 years, this world would be gone, because they will destroy the world in order to have more resources, have more money, have more land, just to steal and usurp all the resources on the earth. you couldn't even, I don't believe you could even keep them in power for another 50 years. They would literally destroy this entire globe. So yeah, he must get them out of power. He must get them out of power. No ifs, ands, or buts. But this is what they're doing. In my little old state, there are 70. And of course, they are looking to put more and more. And you saw who owns most of these data centers. Okay, Elon, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, it's all of the, like I said, it's all of the same people that already got tons of wealth. No, that's not enough. You remember they got an appetite that can't be satisfied. So no matter how many trillions they have, they want trillions more because they can't be satisfied. I don't know, dark skinned brother, another 20 years. I don't even think, I think they would probably run us all out of our houses to put up data centers. And I'm not kidding. That's what, some of these data centers, they took people's land and homes away from them so they could put those data centers there. They have been running people off of their property to put data centers in. So they don't care. They don't care what they do to any of us. Just understand that they don't care what they do to us. Yeah. So, yeah, this is getting really bad, but I thank the Most High so far there are none near me. I know that can all change, but if it does change, I just pray to him that he will keep me safe, keep my family safe, and let them have no challenge that we can't conquer. That's all I'm saying. But so as you can see, because like I said, the consensus is, oh, they're just putting this in the Black community. That's not true. That's not true. You saw the amount of white people that are in this thing. A lot of those data centers, like here in my state, the 70 are around where white people are. That's where they are. And you can just pull up, there's a lot of images online. You can pull up still shots and you could just type in nighttime near a data center and it'll show you communities. And you'll see towns of houses and you'll see the sky is lit up at night. It's so lit up, it looks like daytime hours. It's all kinds of pictures. Oh, yeah, Virginia got a lot. So does DC. In fact, I believe all up and down the East Coast is loaded with data centers. I believe they're all up and down the entire East Coast. But they're going to be, they are nationwide. There are some in virtually every state. And there's going to be more. So you're at 75 right now. LL, you're at 75 right now. So that number is going to be going up. We're at 70 where I am. And I was reading in New Jersey, they're anticipating we'll probably have about 80 by the end of the year. So that's how fast they are going up. They're going up really, really fast. Yeah. Yeah. And see, your body needs that dark because our body produces natural melatonin when we're in the dark. That's why we can go to sleep. And if you take that away and you're in constant daylight, yeah, that's going to impact everything. Everybody's sleep is going to be impacted. Mm-hmm. Either that or you're going to have to get some good blackout curtains so that you can make your rooms dark. If you're near a data center, you can get some good blackout curtains, make the room dark, and you'll be able to still get some sleep. But it may take some, you may have to make an effort to make that happen. More data center, the more data, the more money. It's all about money, Doris. It's all about money. The more data center they have, the more money they make. The more, and these are AI jobs that's going to put the majority of Americans out of work. Is going to come to a time in this country where the majority of the people are going to be without jobs, especially if you don't have a job, where you can't be replaced, like you are a UPS driver or you work for the postal where you have to be out there. But if you are doing a job on a computer for your company, you can easily be replaced by AI. And that's the whole goal of the data centers, eventually the data center. And then tomorrow, it's going to be a lot of your jobs that will be gone because AI will replace whatever you're doing in your position will be replaced with AI. So one day you're going to wake up and the majority of the country will be without jobs. The majority. And then you're going to say, well, what are they going to do with these people? Well, farms, servitude work. Yeah, if they can do that to people, that's what they're going to do. But remember, the Most High said he's going to make them go around this world and clean up the mess they made. So data centers are definitely on the list now of things they're going to have to clean up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can look up how many's in your state. It is crazy. Yeah, 601. Jesse, wow. Well, they probably think they're going to still have consumers. And in a sense, they are right. But this country is going to be very different. Just understand, when they are done with putting all these data centers where they want, America is going to be a very, very different nation. It's going to be a very different, it's going to be unlike something you have never seen in your lifetime. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens, but if a Gentile is doing it, I never anticipate it being something good. I already know right off the bat it will never be anything good. Unfortunately, Gentiles do not do anything that furthers humanity. Everything they do is always destruction. They can't help themselves. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. I have my next live coming up at 1:45. And I hope to see you there. I do have another upcoming sale, but it will begin on Friday. I will be putting stuff out probably in the next day or so. The hair pomade and a creamy emu oil pomade twin pack will be on sale for 30% off starting on Friday. All right. So I will have that up probably at least by tomorrow. So everybody, please enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and I will see you at 1:45. Shalom, family.